The nightmare you are about to experience contains elements of fire, pyro, and intense flashing lights. It's dark and adult in nature. If you find anything of this nature offensive, I suggest leaving this dark dream immediately. Ready or not, here I come. To the nightmare.
Hello. Hello. Do we look great? No, we do. What's up, everybody? Happy St. Patrick's Day. I forgot that was today. So, happy St. Patrick's Day. And welcome to the first live stream of the 2024 Halloween Horror Nights season. It's been a while since we've done live stream on the channel. It's been about last season, beginning of last season, somewhat around that. Obviously we've been putting out the videos about the season, all the fun stuff that you guys have been watching and showing huge support on that last one. Jeez. But yeah, no, it's been a while since we've actually talked live with you guys. So we wanted to bring that back because that was a staple of last year, and we wanted to continue to be a staple for all of the years of HHN we cover. Plus, when it comes to things like what we're going to be talking about today, specifically the spec map that was recently dropped beginning of last week from Horror Night Nightmares. It's good to get other people's take on what they're thinking these mysterious symbols and whatever unknown IPs, all this fun stuff means. So I want to talk about that today, and then later we're going to be talking about the first ever merch drop we're going to be doing for the channel, and you'll get to see a little bit of that in a minute. But first I want to talk about the spec map. So Amber, I'm going to stop talking for 2 seconds.
Why?
And I'm going to ask you, what do you think of the spec map so far?
I'm pretty excited about the spec map. There's a lot of promising things on there, but there is a given that it's pretty confusing with the fact that it's all symbols right now.
Yes.
I'm hoping, that we get the Tribute Store comic themed house that everybody's speculating, and maybe Sweet Revenge, but besides that, it's kind of just up in the air. But it makes me very excited. It's like officially speculation season.
That's what I was going to say. Whenever we get this first spec map for HHN, it usually means that, stuff is going to start happening, whether that's more speculation maps or starting of announcements for HHN officially, which we'll get into that a little bit later as well. But, yeah, it makes me very excited. Obviously, this is all symbols. In the past, we've gotten the symbols, but we've also gotten little code names. Like, for example, I remember, I think it was last year where we were speculating Darkest Deal or whatever. And on the spec map, it was called Devil Dogs or whatever it was. Yeah. So I do miss that a little bit on this spec map compared to the previous ones. But I think it is fun to always decode symbols. I mean, if you're a Horror Nights fan and you have been an HHN fan for quite some time, you would know that we even decode static sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of a staple to speculation season to kind of make something from nothing.
Yes. So if you've never been in a Horror Fiends live stream before, welcome to the channel. I'm Kyle, this is Amber. This is your number one destination for horror, specifically HHN. Things look a little different than they did last year. The studio looks a little different. There's a TV in here now, and we've upgraded some lighting. We're going to get to that camera eventually. But, so if this is your first time in the stream, we do talk to chat, so feel free to message in chat and say your thoughts. I'm going to be asking chat a few times on what they're thinking of these symbols, asking for participation, because I don't want to just be talking the whole time. I am going to be talking the whole time, and you're going to be talking the whole time.
Yes.
We want you guys to talk in the stream as well. So welcome in. We're a big friendly family here. Friendly family here.
Fiendly family?
So, welcome in who already has started chatting, but feel free to start chatting in the chat, and we will get to all of your messages, hopefully. maybe. But besides that, I want to get straight into the spec map because
Yes.
there's a lot to talk about. There's 10 houses, and some logistics things and all that fun stuff. Chat's already going off. All right.
Hi, Dreamport.
Welcome in, Dreamport.
Dead.
Talk to the chat for a second. Give me just 2 seconds here.
Hi, chat. Everybody except there's one person that we're not gonna mention what they just said. Oh my gosh. Anyways, it's speculation season.
Yeah, it is.
And we're gonna talk about the spec map, and what we think's going on.
Anyways.
So- I'm like crying.
What a great start.
Yeah.
Alright, anyways, we're gonna get straight to the spec map.
Yes.
I guess I'll have to watch chat in this one. Jesus, y'all are crazy. But yeah, so we're getting straight to the spec map, talk about our we're gonna talk about our thoughts.
What a great first stream back.
Yeah. I guess we should hire some moderators for this channel, Jesus. Anyways, so into the spec map. Okay. Let me find it here real quick.
There we go.
Alright, here's the spec map.
Okay.
Anyway, hi Dreamport, welcome in. Okay, so we're gonna talk about this specifically, the houses first, because as you can see on the spec map, there's no scare zones. So and then we'll talk about the shows and all that too. So we're just gonna talk about firstly what we think these symbols are, and then we'll ask you guys maybe your thoughts on them. And we're gonna start from like the front of the park and going throughout the park. Sorry, just thinking about that. Alright, so first things first. When you get into the park, the first house you're going to see is in Soundstage 23A, and that is this South America continent symbol. And before I get started, actually, Horror Night Nightmares, when they drop these spec maps, this is not cemented that this stuff is coming to the event.
Right.
I want to cement that every time I talk about this, because I don't want to confuse any of you guys. And so I just want to completely state that first off. But anyway, Soundstage 23 is a Latin America, South America kind of continent symbol thing, okay?
Yes.
So I'll tell you firstly what we're thinking about the symbol, what it could be. Obviously we don't know, but us personally, we were thinking this could be some sort of Latin American monster house. It's not a stranger to the event. Hollywood had Monstros last year. They've had La Llorona. I said it
And
right
we've
this
had-
time because I was critiqued on that.
Yeah. And then we've had the Chupacabra's house before too.
Yes, we've also had Chupacabras. So that's what I'm feeling. They're either going to bring a new Latin American creature house to the event, or they might be, bringing maybe Monstros to this coast. I mean, they already have the props from Hollywood. They could easily be shipped over here. So that's kind of what we're thinking for this. I have heard recently people talking about creature. And yes, the code names, those are things too. I haven't really studied the code names, bear
That
with
is
me.
true.
But I love a lot of rumors are going around about this one of being Creature from the Black Lagoon. I would love a Creature house coming to the event. I feel like he needs his spotlight.
Definitely.
But on this map, you'll notice there are little like film reels next to some of these symbols. And we're starting to think that's maybe like IPs, and seems like a lot of creators are thinking the same thing when they've been making their videos and live streams on this. Everyone's thinking this is signifying IPs. So there is no IP film reel thing on this Latin American, South American continent symbol. So it makes me think that it's maybe not Creature, because even though Universal owns the Universal Monsters, obviously, it's still technically considered an IP.
Right.
So that's the only thing I...
My chair just broke. It didn't break, actually. It just moved. It's good. Anyways, wow.
So yes, that's what...
We're really getting to it.
That's what we're thinking about this one.
Yeah.
Does anyone think differently about maybe Latin? Do you have a speculation or something you are wishing for this to be? What about you, Amber? Are you wishing for this to be
I'm
anything
saying,
specific?
While you're waiting for people to kind of talk and chat about that, because I know sometimes we're a little delayed.
Yes.
I do think definitely, like you said, Latin America, some type of folklore or monster house, just because it kind of feels like that's become a little bit of a staple, is like some type of traditional folklore from somewhere in the world has kind of been in Horror Nights for the past few years. I think they're really having fun with like retelling different stories from different cultures. So I definitely feel like I'm on the same page with that. I would love anything that has that same feeling that like Chupacabras had. Because it's just very different from the rest of the houses, and you kind of got a taste of something different. Dakota said, I think Creature would be Soundstage 22 because of the film reel, and if I remember right, that's the same area where Dead Man's Pier was.
Okay. It's a good assumption because a lot of people are speculating like Creature is coming to the event in some sort of capacity, whether it's a house or scare zone show, whatever it might be. I know that was a big speculation going into this year, was Creature's going to get his own house, whether that is him just exclusively in the house or some sort of Universal Monster mashup like we've gotten past 3 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were thinking maybe Drac with them, something along those lines. So that is specifically what we think about this continent symbol, is the Latin American sort of vibes, but obviously we don't know. It could be something completely left field.
Yeah. It's the fun of speculation season, is that half the time what we're starting with here right now and talking about and guessing, probably by the time we get that final map, we're going to be way off of what we're talking about currently.
Yeah, because these things change every single version we get them. House locations move. I guess in this case, the symbols will probably change or be altered in some sort of way once we get all of these spec maps coming. Because this is the first one. This is the earliest spec map. Half the time this is wrong. I'll throw it out there. Half the time, a lot of it is wrong. And then even if it is correct at that moment, licenses could get lost with certain IPs from Universal, because that has happened many times. And then things will get switched around. So we're going to move on from Soundstage 23A, going up to Soundstage 22. So this Soundstage 22 is where Exorcist was last year.
Yes.
So like the Music Plaza, where they're holding their Mardi Gras concerts and things like that. So that's where this queue is probably going to be. Usually it is. That's where this house is going to be. And so the symbol for this one is a like skull with like some vampire fangs, some sort of fang, saber-tooth tiger, whatever it might be. Something is going on with this skull fang thing. And it's also symbolized by, like an IP reel we were talking about. So, Amber, what do you think this is?
I mean, obviously, in our last video, we kind of talked about some of our guesses for this. Our first thought was The Last Voyage of Demeter. Obviously, or not obviously, but unfortunately, I have not seen that movie. We have not seen that movie yet. But the, Dracula that they have in that movie kind of has a similar look. He's very, dried out, skeletal kind of vampire. So maybe something along those lines. I know we also talked about maybe this could be, a hint at, another monster mashup. And that could be why he's, part skull, part teeth. It's vaguely hinting towards a monster mashup house. And then, like we said, too, it's got the IP reel. So that kind of helps us keep it in a ballpark of knowing it's coming from either a series or a movie or something.
Right. And so, specifically with this one, yeah, we did think Voyage of Demeter. There's a lot of rumors going around about a few different things. One of them was just dropped in chat, was The Lost Boys. Which, dude, if The Lost Boys came to HHN, I would be all for that. That movie is fantastic. That is pure 80s horror right there, the peak of it. So having that and hearing, I forgot what the song's called, but the song from Lost Boys, you know what I'm talking about, if you're a horror fan. Hearing that, and maybe the queue or inside of the house at some point would be awesome. If we could get, I'd be so all for Lost Boys. But one of them I did hear was Lost Boys. Another one I did hear was some sort of Universal Monster mashup or just Dracula, where that's classic or something along those lines. Another thing I heard was possibly something to do with Epic, like Epic Universe, Dark Universe. Me specifically, I don't think that's the case. I made a video about this. If you guys have not seen how how would you even implement Epic into Halloween Horror Nights? If you guys, yes, Cry Little Sister, thank you. That's the song. Yeah, so that's I don't think it would be like a Dark Universe kind of house. I've also heard Nosferatu, because of the new Robert Eggers movie coming on Christmas, I think it is.
Yeah, and Chris just said in chat too that Dracula and Demeter is like the old-timey black and white Nosferatu.
Yes, which that is a fantastic film. If you're into the black and white horror.
And then Christy just brought up another point that we were actually talking about earlier today with Abigail.
Yes, that is, I completely forgot about that. Thank you. Abigail is also what I've heard. If you don't know what Abigail is, it's the new Universal Monster movie coming out this month? Next month. No. Sometime this year.
Sometime this year.
I think it's in the next couple of months or something like that.
I know it's pretty soon because the ads are starting to roll out and become a little more.
But
heavy.
yes, this is Universal Monsters, made by the same people that made Scream 5 and 6, so Radio Silence, which you guys probably don't care about that. But it's about, essentially, it's a new take on the Universal Monster film, Dracula's Daughter. So it's the daughter of Dracula. It feels very like a movie that could come to HHN. It's got the Megan vibes.
Yeah.
That's literally what I get, like a vampire Megan. So I would be down for that too. Obviously, we haven't seen the movie, so we don't know if it's going to be a good film. But even if things aren't good films, they could be turned into good haunted houses.
Definitely. I mean, we kind of saw that with Exorcist being a house before the movie was even out.
Yeah, true.
Like,
that is true.
Doesn't necessarily have to be, not even the fact that it has to be a good movie or a bad movie, but like, that movie wasn't even out and it still made a good house.
Yeah, hot take. Exorcist was good.
I thought it was really good. I was so shocked at how good it was after hearing everybody crap on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm easy to please in that aspect. It did everything I would want for like a requel kind of movie to do. So Exorcist was good. And the house, I like too. Stunk really bad. It was good though. But not. I meant stunk like the scent.
Yeah,
the scent, the aroma in the house.
It smells bad.
But yeah, so this is what everyone's thinking for this one. I'm seeing a lot of people are thinking these same things in the comments. Lost Boys, Dracula, Nosferatu, Abigail, or maybe Voyage to the Meter. That's basically what everyone's thinking. Some sort of universal house. Whether that's through Abigail or whatever, all these are universal monsters. So this has to be some iteration of universal monsters. Where this is the Dracula creature, or Abigail, Nosferatu, Lost Boys, whatever. There's something going on in Universal monster-wise in that house. I'm with y'all on Exorcist. Not my favorite movie, but definitely not the worst in my opinion. I found enjoyment in it. Yes, I agree. I was very... Which we'll segue off for a sec. I was very, like... I don't know, cautious, I guess the word is, on that movie. Just for the simple fact it was made by the director that did Halloween Ends and that kind of stuff. And I don't know if the people in chat liked Halloween Ends. I did not. Don't crucify me for it, but I did not like Halloween Ends. Just specifically for how they handled Michael Myers. But that's because I grew up with Halloween and like H2O, that kind of stuff, where Michael Myers was like this unstoppable force or whatever. So I was a little bit skeptical and cautious when it came to Exorcist Believer. But I watched it and I was like, you know, this is good. Spoilers for the movie if you haven't watched it. I apologize. But having Linda Blair in there, having the mom, I completely forgot the actress's name, but having them in there and handling them okay. I'm not going to say it was perfect how they handled them, but it was okay. It wasn't how certain characters in the Halloween new trilogy were handled. But yeah, so I didn't hate that movie. But even if you didn't like the movie, I feel like the house was solid.
No. I feel like the house and the movie, I both went into the same way, like not expecting greatness, but was pleasantly surprised.
Agreed. Alright, I think we've talked enough about this vampire skull. So let's move on to the next one in Soundstage 23B, another IP. This is obviously Disney's Cars, right? Is that what we were all thinking? This is Cars?
Oh my gosh,
Lightning
I just
McQueen?
got so confused. Ka-chow.
Yeah, this is Lightning McQueen the house, correct?
Yes.
This is what we all thinking?
Moving on. No.
Yeah, next one. No, I'm joking. Obviously, this is a Cadillac symbol. We all probably know what this is. This is the one that everyone's been talking about forever, along with another one that we'll get into later. But this one specifically is probably the most popular one that's being talked about, rumor.
Yes.
This is Ghostbusters. It's Cadillac. Ecto 1 is a Cadillac. We know that Ecto 1 was bought by Universal. This is Ghostbusters. I know the code name for this one I think it was Chris, you were dropping the code names in there. I believe this one is S'mores.
Yes.
Why is it called S'mores?
Because
Marshmallow Man.
they puff babies. I love this, guys.
This is Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
It's kind of obvious at this point. So yeah, that's Ghostbusters. If anyone thinks differently, by all means, is this Lightning McQueen in the house? Maybe. Is this I've heard actually Christine. But the only thing with Christine, she's not a Cadillac. That's the only thing.
And why would the code name be S'mores?
Yeah, I know, but I'm just entertaining all the other speculation.
Yeah, I know.
But
They could be throwing us off.
up here in Chicago area, all the haunted houses use horrible scents for the rooms. I apologize for you.
Yeah, no. Bad smells is like the scariest part of any haunted house I've ever been in.
I used to live up there in Chicago. I never went to the attractions up there, so I don't know. But I apologize for your headaches that you probably get. Because those scents, if they're as strong as they are HHN, man. Elvis the haunted house. Yes, that's what it is. You're going to have Austin Butler popping out of you.
Absolutely killer. I'd be... Yeah.
He's going to be like, oh, I'm Austin.
It's like zombie Elvis.
Yeah, it's zombie. Yeah, thank you very much. There you go. That's the house. It's obviously Elvis the house, guys. You're gonna get the pink Cadillac when you go in. And he's gonna be like doing something. It's just like Darkest Steel, but they're using Elvis this time.
Yeah, exactly.
This is Ghostbusters.
It's gotta be Ghostbusters.
No, I've heard a few things about this little Ghostbusters thing. I've heard that possibly this could be a mashup of Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Because we did just get Ghostbusters 1 in HHN 29, so 2019. Yeah. But I don't know if that's true. Then I've also heard that maybe it's possibly the new films. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. I feel like it would make more sense for it to... Like, I would love it to be the older movies, but I feel like it makes more sense for it to be newer because I feel like Universal's been doing a lot more, like, advertising new movies through houses, and the new ones are, like... There's one coming out this year, and one came out very recently.
I'm sorry, I was laughing at...
chat.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly. Adelia? I don't know. I'm sorry. A.L. That's you. That would be scarier than any house HHN has made. I'm assuming you mean Elvis. Yes.
It'd be pretty scary.
Be pretty scary, man.
Kitchen and butcher room smells are the worst. Yeah, like I specifically think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that house, the very, like, the entrance.
Oh, I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. That's all I was saying.
Oh, okay. Those kind of rooms, and specifically barns.
Yeah.
Barns stank, bro. Those are bad.
Because they pump the, like, I can't say that word, the manure smell.
Yeah, they pump that stinky smell.
Yeah.
That Taco Bell poops smell.
Mm-mm.
But yes,
pleasant.
Those are the worst. Okay, we're thinking this is Ghostbusters.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or Elvis.
Maybe Elvis.
Continuing on to the next one, we're going to go straight to Soundstage 24A. This one does not have an IP symbol, so this is an original, is what they're thinking. This has some sort of skull with a black and a white colorization. This is obviously Skull, the house.
I was about to say, what joke are you about to make now? Because honestly, this is the one I'm most excited to get into.
Yes, and I know Dreamport, if you're still in here, I know this is the one you're talking about too.
Yeah, because I agree with Dreamport. If this is what we are saying it could be, I will be a changed person and no one will know who I am.
Alright, so if you went to the event last year, during 2023, I was just going to say 2024. During 2023, there was a certain tribute store in New York, the New York area of the park, called I believe it was the Tribute General or whatever the store was called. It was a comic book store. Like a horror comic book, visual novel kind of thing. And in there, they sold this kind of comic book, which you actually could buy, called Tribute to Terror. And when you went to this tribute store, it basically was telling you the story of this Tribute to Terror comic book. You had a room that was a graveyard, I believe it was. I don't actually know the names of the rooms. But we had a graveyard room. Then I see you dropped it in chat. Boris Schuster room, or the Boris Schuster brothers. The Schuster brothers. Jesus.
There you go.
That room, which was the best room in the house.
Absolutely amazing.
The store.
The store, yeah.
Then you had the Sell Your Soul to the Devil thing.
And then we had the Jack the Ripper.
Then Jack the Ripper, yeah. So basically, all this was narrated, in a sense, by a figure called the Curator, which essentially was the icon of that tribute store. It's this like ghoul thing that kind of reminds me of like the Crypt Keeper from like Tales of the Crypt and stuff. This code name is Pudding. Thank you, Chris. So yeah, this was there last year. And on the comic books you could buy, there was a skull, very similar to this one. In the bottom, I believe it was like left or right corner of that book, that looked exactly, almost identical to this. And then, of course, there was, if you even looked in the windows, I believe there was a t-shirt that said Tribute Comics or whatever with the skull as well.
It's like in the center of the
now, it's
shirt.
not exactly the skull, but if you look at, for example, the eyes on this skull and the art style of the skull, it looks a lot like that skull did. So it makes us think we're going to be getting a... oh my god, words. House.
There you go.
Getting a house based on this tribute to Terror comic book thing.
Yeah.
I know they even crafted their own story. If you listen to the podcast they released last year during HHN, or before HHN, where they were talking about everything, there's a whole podcast episode to this.
Kind of breaks down the lore.
Yeah, this whole lore behind the store. So they have the lore to run with inside of a house. Now, if this comes to the event, I will be marathoning this house.
No, absolutely, 100%. Especially if there is any mention, hint, thought of Boris in that house.
Yes. I don't know if there's going to be.
We can hope and pray.
But that's what I've been seeing as far as people's speculation on the house. I haven't seen anything different. Does anyone have anything different that you're speculating that this house could be? Because that's all I've heard.
I know I have seen people talking about, given this does not have the, whoops, I dropped my phone. Does not have the IP, whoops, I dropped my phone. Does not have the IP real symbol on it, but I have seen some people mentioning, of course, like black and white, Universal Monsters. But again, there's no IP real on there. Housebroken Florida Man said, "Are there any possible red herrings?"
Ooh, that's a good question. I wouldn't know. I mean, it's possible. There could be something that's misleading us.
I mean, I don't know if there would be really any, like, purposeful red herrings, if that makes sense.
There might be.
I mean, there could be. I mean...
It's possible. I mean, Horror Night Nightmares, I'm sure, loves to tease about it. That's the whole reason they make these things.
Yeah.
Obviously, they don't actually know it's coming fully there, but maybe they did put this specific art style of a skull there to make us think about that, but it's something completely different.
That is very true. And then...
Dreamport says, as soon as I walked in the store for the first time, I immediately thought, I know, I saw it. I immediately thought it would be a perfect house concept.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
I remember going in and my only thought process was, this is setting something up. Like, I felt like it was the, like, first step to kind of hint at maybe they were already planning the next year. Like, it just felt too planned and too cohesive as a tribute store for it to not really mean anything more.
I think... just on the Boris side of things, I don't think they would have brought so much build-up last year. I don't know if you remember. But last year, I remember everyone going to the parks and seeing certain things popping up in Boris's window, whether that was the Cthulhu statue or things changing and stuff like that. I feel like that wasn't just built up just for a store.
Yeah, because you also have to remember, I forget her name, but the Madam, was it like... Not Basil. I always want to say Basil, but it's like Basiel or Madam something.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
She had the note card in her window under Boris's office that would change out and said that she was like going to go travel in the caravan with like Oddfellow and all that. So I'm like, they put a lot of emphasis specifically in that area and like brought your attention to that note card and the things changing in the window, and then for him to be in the tribute store and that all tie in. It really feels like they were setting something up.
I agree. That's what I was thinking too. I don't think purposeful red herrings, but definitely some that lean on the vague side. I agree.
Yeah.
Yes. That is my thought process as well.
We can't be too specific now because then if you get too specific now, then there's no point in dropping the 4 other versions that are going to come out.
Right. And you want to keep the surprise. I mean, that's the whole thing with the announcements from HHN. They don't want us to know.
No.
That's why they keep everything secret. That's why they don't announce like 6 months ahead of time, because they want to slowly build up the hype.
Yeah.
They don't want you to know everything. So I'm sure Horror Night Nightmares is respecting that as well.
Definitely.
When they're dropping just symbols.
Because, I mean, even for, like, us personally, I'm sure you feel the same way, but I don't want someone to tell me, oh, I know all the houses that are coming to Horror Nights, and me know now before anything's announced, because the fun of it is that you don't know, and you get to kind of play around and speculate.
Okay, they said, I think Cthulhu is still there, or he was there recently, and then Dreamport, you don't have to stop talking in chat, bud. We talked to chat the entire time.
It's
You're
exciting.
good.
It's fun.
I want to hear you guys' opinions. So feel free to spam the chat with whatever. Well, not whatever, but you get what I mean. Dreamport says, okay, sorry, last chat, and I'll shut up. But statue is still in the window. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
So why is it still in the window? That makes you question that even more. Why is that still inside of the window? I feel like if it was just for a store, they would have ended it after HHN, right? They would have taken it down.
Yeah, and then you also have to think about the fact that there was that Cthulhu statue in the window, and then in the Boris room of
There's
the
the
tribute
Cthulhu,
store, it was Cthulhu, but he was like breaking through.
Now, if we get Boris in any capacity, if this means Boris or whatever it might mean...
Because I will not shut up about it if we get Boris.
Yes, I will be very excited if we get Boris here. But even more specifically, I'm going to talk about something that probably will never happen. But if Boris is there, I want Bloody Mary back.
Yes.
I've been saying this for so long. I understand there's a licensing issue with Bloody Mary. She's this actual figure. And unlike Jack and Caretaker and all this other stuff, she was an actual figure. But the lore behind her, Dr. Mary Agana, I feel like can be used. Just don't use Bloody Mary, right? Just show her in some sort of capacity. Because the whole story of how Boris was introduced was through the Bloody Mary, Dr. Mary Agana story. Now, I'm going a little lore deep here, so I'm sorry.
That's what makes it good.
But I feel like if you have Boris, and you're going to tell the story of his past with his brother now, you gotta trinkle in Dr. Mary Agana in there, because that's his early story there.
Yeah, that's his introduction.
Right. That's just me. Never will happen. I don't think they would ever do it. Besides maybe like a nod, like a mirror in the room or something.
Right.
But that's it. I mean, if they do that, I'll still be excited for that.
Yeah. Well,
but...
I mean, how they treated her in the Icon's house, we had that little mirror room, and it was a nod to her, but it wasn't obvious.
Right.
But that was very exciting to see.
All right, chat, let me catch up with you. I could see a splatter cinema type house. A splatter cinema. I don't know what that word means.
Slasher cinema, maybe?
Like, just like a very bloody house? I don't know. If you're saying that, then yes. More gore? Yes. He was there earlier this week. Who was there?
The Cthulhu, I think.
Oh, Cthulhu? Oh, yes. I need to know now to prepare myself. You won't know yet.
You don't need to know.
That's the whole thing about this certain season of HHN, is it's all rumors. It's all speculations.
Yeah.
No one's going to know anything coming until Universal announces it. You could have an insider, quote unquote, say that they know this specific house is coming at this certain time in this certain area, and then it probably isn't. You know, it just, we got to wait for Universal to actually announce things. But this part of the little season keeps us entertained, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely.
I would adore if they brought back Bloody Mary, one of my favorite icons. One of the most fleshed out icons, besides like Jack. I feel like Bloody Mary is probably one of the most fleshed out icons with this whole story. Back when we had the Horror Nights website where you could explore into the mirror and go down like a little, almost like Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole, into her backstory, read her journals and all that fun stuff. She had a great backstory, and I feel like that's just gone.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's, again, nothing against HHN. They lost the license.
Yeah.
But
also, we need to talk about what Dreamport just put in chat, because that, yes.
My thought was that we saw False Idols Part 1 in the store, and it left off on a cliffhanger with the idol being a fake. Is the one in the window the real one, and we're gonna get Part 2?
Because that would make so much sense. Because of course we're all thinking the one in the window was there first.
Yeah?
So that throws us off. But if we think of it in the fact that the tribute store is telling us an old story, and this one's fake, and they know it's fake, why would there be one in the window? It might be the right one. That would literally be the coolest thing ever. Again, I keep saying it, but if that happens, we'll not shut up about it. Because I think Boris is like the unsung hero of Halloween Horror Nights.
I feel like we just stopped being live. Are we still live? Yeah, okay, cool.
Oh.
I thought it glitched. It like my computer glitched for a sec. Sorry, guys. But what was I saying?
I was just saying.
Oh yeah, you were saying.
Boris is the unsung hero of Halloween Horror Nights, and he deserves more credit, and we need to see him more.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like they use Boris really good. And even going further into this theory of comic books and all that fun stuff, when we got Case Files and HHN 30, that was a comic book. I mean, it was technically Case Files, but it was a comic book style. You would walk into a certain room and it'd be like a comic book cover of what this room is.
Yeah, well, because it was, like his name's Tim Foyle, I think?
Yeah, Tim Foyle.
And he was reading these books.
I forgot about that, dang.
Yeah.
I forgot about Tim Foyle.
Yeah. But he was like reading all these stories, and it was taking you into those books that he was researching. And that was the panels at the beginning of every area, if I do remember correctly.
All right, so hold on. Are there any estimates on when Universal will announce dates? No. I mean, I have ideas just basing off of last year. Dates for last year, and I think a single night ticket came out March 23rd of 2023. So if they follow that same formula, I feel like end of this month we're going to get dates and maybe single night. I don't know about a house or anything like that, and this is not cemented in stone. I don't know if this is actually going to happen on these days. But I remember last year they didn't announce a house with a single night, and I think it was single night. I honestly don't know if it was just dates. But dates last year, all there was like a rune video, if you remember that.
Yeah.
It was like this little rune video that I don't remember what it said at this point.
It was like the rune wheel, and it said never go alone around the edges.
That's what it was.
You had to decode it, and it said the legend is real or something.
Yeah, that's what it was. So that's what happened.
Because again, last year we were all like, the legendary truth.
Yeah. I mean, he was there.
He was.
In some capacity. Capacity?
Capacity.
It became a different accent. But yeah, that's just my speculation on actual announcements. As far as the rest of the announcement, like houses, scare zones, shows, I honestly don't think Horror Nights is gonna like go off of the formula they're already using the past few years, and that's drop everything at once.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of been their forte since 30. So I mean, 30 still had a little bit more spaced out, but 31, 32 drops in like August.
Yeah.
So if they follow that same formula, probably then. Which I hope. I keep my fingers crossed for more of like a spaced out announcement season, because then we don't have to wait forever. But you know,
it's more to talk about. It's more fun.
Yeah.
A little more hype, but.
But yeah, as far as like single night or dates, I feel like possibly end of this month or middle maybe next month. But I feel like within the next 2 months. All right, so we're done talking about comic books and Boris and all that fun stuff. We're going to move over to Soundstage 24B, which is signified by a little lollipop. So this is obviously, we all know what this is, right? It's Willy Wonka, the experience, as a Horror Nights house.
Cannot stop seeing that Willy Wonka experience.
This is what it is.
All over my Facebook.
I'm telling you, right? That's what it is.
TikTok and Instagram. Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
No, it's not. This is obviously, well, not obviously, it might not be this. But this could be.
This is not obvious. This is one of those ones that I'm like, maybe they are giving us a vague red herring.
Yeah, it could be anything. I mean, it's just candy.
Yeah.
It could be Candy Monsters or another iteration of Tooth Fairy or something.
Right. But obviously we know what we're hoping for it to be. And that is Sweet Revenge.
Yeah, but it seems like a lot of people are speculating is Sweet Revenge. If you don't know what Sweet Revenge is, it was a scare zone back in 31 in New York. It was like this little town that there was a mayor, and Major Sweets owned this like chocolate candy company.
Major Sweets owned a candy company where he was putting stuff in the candy that made the children act out.
In murder.
Yeah, they did murder.
They did murder.
They did murder.
So that's what everyone's speculating this one to be. I think this would be cool.
Yeah, and then Chris just said too, of course, the code name is Fudge.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, that doesn't help it. I mean, that does help it. That's what I'm trying to say. It makes it more likely. Yeah, the unknown house. See, that's what I'm saying. It's Willy Wonka. No, it's that's what we think it is. I feel like it'd be cool. Maybe the house is based in Major Sweets Candy Company, like the actual warehouse or something. And like I think we were talking about this, where you were talking about doing experiments or something on.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. Like I think the scare zone's more so the aftermath of what Major Sweets did, but it'd be cool if we had a house that was more so the leading up to that scare zone moment.
I agree. like
the build-up of Major Sweets, like having whatever causes him to go do this to this candy and do this to these children, and then like the slow, like how Bugs was, how you met this woman at the beginning of the house and she was just a normal woman, and by the end she was like transformed into this bug human hybrid. Right. Like through the house you kept seeing different stages of her transformation. Like that would be cool to like see throughout the house, like the transformation of like what this candy's doing and the creation of the candy, and I just think a whole like actual backstory in house form would be nice for Sweet Revenge.
I agree. You said everything I was gonna say. But is that what you guys are thinking as well? Major sweets or some sort of Sweet Revenge kind of house? I would like to see that personally. So, but let us know. I'm gonna move on because this next one's I just want to talk a little bit about. Obviously, we see what it says, but we're gonna move over to Fast and Furious. This was where Chucky was last year and Horrors of Blumhouse the year before. Just says unknown IP, but we got the confirmation it's the IP. So anything could be here, obviously. Me personally, I'm gonna give you my speculation on it, just for the simple fact of comparing it to what usually is in that zone or that house location, and that is Blumhouse. Just based off the fact we got Blumhouse with the Black Phone and Freaky inside of that house, and then we got a Peacock property, Chucky, inside of that house as well. So it seems like this is where that kind of vibe goes. So I'm thinking Blumhouse. Some sort of Blumhouse house.
Blumhouse house.
Yes. And we know Blumhouse is coming to the event because if you don't know, at the beginning of this year, Blumhouse released this little like list of New Year's resolutions. And there was a bunch of different ones, and on that list was we're going to be coming to Halloween Horror Nights or go to Halloween Horror Nights, whatever it said. And so that basically confirms that they're going to have some sort of presence in the event, whether it's a house, scare zone, show, whatever. There's going to be Blumhouse at the event. I think this is what it is. I think Blumhouse is here. Codename is Pi. And that gets me started on this thing here. We're going to talk about the thing you probably have heard more than anything. More than Ghostbusters. And that's Five Nights at Freddy's. So the speculation at the beginning of this year was that FNAF, Five Nights at Freddy's, was going to come to this event. To this year's event. Now there's the new speculation that it won't be. So, I don't know. Obviously, these are rumors. We don't actually know if FNAF is coming. I do think if they did FNAF, if it did come to the event, it would be very hard to pull off. Just for the simple fact you have the huge set, which that's not a problem. But more so the budget they will need to put into it for just maybe a Fast and Furious sized house. And those are the smaller houses. And then the costuming. I think you could do great animatronics. Obviously, the whole movie's about animatronics and game and all that. But then you got to think about the actors inside of these suits. Because you're going to have the scare actors. You can't just have animatronics inside of the whole house. And if these actors are wearing like a Freddy costume or a Foxy costume, Chico, whatever, it's going to be hard. Because these actors are got to hit a trigger, come out of their scare you, and still have that like personal space so they run into you. And I feel like that'd be very hard to pull off if they want to do an accurate house to the movies and the games, because those are big suits.
Yeah.
Now, if they go down the route of just having the animatronics as these characters, like Freddy, Bonnie, Chico, whatever, and maybe having scare actors as like security guards or missing children and all the other stuff that goes into FNAF, sure, it could be done, I think. But that's still a lot of money on animatronics.
Yeah.
But I think it could be done. But again, there's the rumor that it's not going to be done.
Yeah, I'm just saying, because we were having that conversation the other day about the creator of the games and how he was really involved in the movie making process. Mm-hmm. And he was pretty stickler about how things were done in the movie versus the comparison to the game.
Right.
So then you also have to think about the fact that there's going to be now a comparison from the game to the movie to a house.
Right.
And that can cause a lot of issues too if Universal wants to do it one way and the creator may want it done a different way if they can't kind of balance out.
Right. And we've seen like the creators wanting to be involved in houses before, because Last of Us last year, Neil Druckmann was very involved in that. He's very involved on how it was and that they did accurate portrayal. He even had Troy Baker and what's her name, the girl who plays Ellie, film or record more voice lines just specifically for the Horror Nights house.
Yeah.
So I feel like even more so, Scott, the creator of the FNAF stuff, would want to be involved in that, because I know that he's very like precious about that IP. Precious? I don't know if that's the right word.
Makes sense.
He's very like
particular.
That's the word about that IP, and I feel like he would definitely want to be involved in that. And I don't know, just based off of if they're going to go Blumhouse being at the event, they're probably going to want to go off of the movie. That way, Jason Blum still keeps his partnership with HHN. But it depends if the creator of the games wants to be the movie or the games. So again, we don't know anything about FNAF. We don't know if FNAF's going to come, or if it'll be a house, or maybe just like it was in Hollywood last year, like just having the animatronics that you can see somewhere. But if it isn't FNAF, I personally think we're going to get a Blumhouse mashup again.
Yeah.
And I think there's 2 movies that would perfectly go here. And from what I'm hearing of one, it was made for a haunted house. And these 2 movies are Imaginary, the new movie with about this killer bear and imaginary friend thing. Everyone that has watched this movie said it wasn't a great movie, but it apparently was made for a haunted house. I haven't seen the movie, we haven't seen the movie, so I don't know. And then the second one, I'm thinking just based on popularity of the flash mob last year, I'm thinking Megan.
Yeah.
Megan and Imaginary. They go together well. I mean, it's like childhood doll, imaginary friend, all together. I feel like that could be a mashup for this year's Blumhouse house. So funny to say.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I don't know. But I think this is probably the strongest IPs they have to use in recent years, because it seems like when Blumhouse comes to the event, they drop their most recent stuff in a house. Now, of course, they could use Purge. They could use Sinister again, like they did. But just based off of what they've done before, they're going to drop newer stuff. And the flash mob of Megan last year was super popular. It wasn't even announced, and it had crowds around it every time. Yeah. And then Imaginary apparently had its own haunt inside of, I think, Hollywood to promote the movie. So that there's like, okay, they can create a haunted house off of it. Right. So I feel like it's probably the strongest IPs after Five Nights at Freddy's to put inside of a house. So I don't know. But again, this is just an unknown IP. So it could be, anything.
Yeah, it definitely could.
So what's chat saying here? Iron Maiden house. Maybe. I mean, it's possible. They have done music houses in the past with The Weeknd, and they were going to do Billie Eilish. Mm-hmm. So Iron Maiden wouldn't be too far off. I'm torn. I honestly don't think they would do a FNAF house justice. That's what I'm thinking as well. I think if they did it, they would have to pour so much money into it. Yeah. And when you're having 10 houses at the event already that you're pouring money into, and it seems like 2 shows and scare zones and all this other stuff, food, all this stuff, I don't think it can be done.
And then with you saying that, literally the next comment in chat is kind of saying the same thing, unpopular opinion, but I hope FNAF is not at HHN simply because it would be a budget nightmare.
Agreed. And then they said, but there's not a movie real symbol here, that's why I go with Maiden. Which Maiden would still technically be an IP because it is a owned band by a record company, so it's still like a licensing thing. I don't know. But it could be Iron Maiden, I don't know. But we're going to move on from the unknown IP because, again, it's just an unknown IP. So we're going to move to Sprung Tent 3. This is where I think Oddfellow was last year.
Yeah, I think so. Sounds about right.
And in this one, which is a little cut off on the screen here, but there is a movie reel symbol next to it, which usually signifies IP that we're thinking. And then like a mute symbol, like speaker, crossed out, whatever. Mute.
Mute, yes.
Obviously, there's two speculations about this one. There's one we talked about in our video that just came out a few days ago, and then there's one that I've been hearing a lot more as well. So much so that I saw on Twitter Horror Night Nightmares dropped a poll about it, because these were the 2 most talked about. Right. And so I'll talk about the first one we talked about first, and that is A Quiet Place. Now, a lot of people are talking about A Quiet Place here. I know a lot of people don't think it could be done. I think it'd be cool. That's my personal opinion. You might have a different opinion. But I think not you, chat.
No, I know. Because I think it would be cool too.
Yeah, I think it could be done. I don't think the house, we were talking about this, I don't think the house would be in pure silence. No. I think you would have some sort of sounds in there, whether it's distant monsters or some sort of soundtrack or like nature, like you were talking about.
I always think about like in the actual movie, we're never really in silence. There was always some kind of like eerie background noise. Like it like insinuates the feeling of like I need to be quiet, but it's not quiet, if that makes sense. Right. So it would be kind of just like that ambient noise because you're surviving in the wild.
Agreed. Now, we're gonna get into the second one before we start talking about the first one. I'm talking about Quiet Place.
Mm-hmm.
The other one I've been hearing is Silent Hill. I think that's possible. Silent Hill has been there before. They could do it again, whether that is based on the game or the movie, but they did Last of Us last year, which was based on a game, so maybe they want to go down the same route again. So I think Silent Hill is a good option as well. Let's see. I know everyone's saying A Quiet Place, but I'll do anything for a Silent Hill house. Yes. So Silent Hill has been done, can be done, so we know it could be possible. The new Quiet Place can totally be done. So new Quiet Place day one is what you're talking about. So yes, that could be done. Obviously, we haven't all seen the movie yet, so I don't know what's inside of the movie. We've just seen the trailer, us personally. But from what I've seen, it looks good.
So there definitely might be a little more in there to work with, but...
Do they have a budget for each house, though? Honestly, I can't say. I know that there is a certain amount of budget that's usually put into the houses. I don't know if there's a limit on that or how that works. But just based off of like permit filings, things like that, there's usually a budget for the space. And I feel like there's probably a budget, just thinking of corporate America here, there's probably a budget on what they can do. Just based off of what Universal actually allows them to do, the team that works on them.
Right.
And then the movie is mostly using sign language. Doesn't make for a good house. Okay, so yes, the movie is mostly sign language, Quiet Place. But there is some scenes, just this is my personal opinion, but there is some scenes inside of A Quiet Place that could easily be used.
Yeah.
For example, the bathtub. Or the mill where he screams at the monster. Or, for example, when the kid's little toy goes off in the forest or whatever it was. I feel like there is some good scenes there. I feel like they wouldn't lean so much on the sign language stuff.
No. I think more so if they were to do a Quiet Place house, it would be more of like, you're gonna see this action going on around you, but it's gonna be loud, because it's gonna be like the monster screeching, and like the panic, and the parent screaming, and whatnot. I think there's a lot they could do with it, more than you kind of realize watching the movie, because I kind of thought the same thing at first, like, it's literally a quiet movie.
Agreed, yes.
But the more I think about it, the more I think it could make a really cool house, and probably do something we've never seen before in a house. Right.
But, yeah, just for, what was I gonna say? I don't have my brain. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like the house could be more focused on like what you're saying, the action stuff, and specifically the monsters.
Yeah.
I don't think there will probably be any quiet if they do this house. I don't think there would be any quiet in there, like you were saying.
Yeah.
I think specifically it would be when the loud noises happen inside of this house. That's what I think.
Yeah. I was gonna say, and we were talking about it the other day, and I specifically was talking about this scene of where they're in that like tube that they hide in. I forget what it is, but they have like the latch on the door and everything, and the monsters get in and they yell. It's where they like go, I think it's the mill where they meet the random old man.
I don't remember.
I don't know. I might be saying something stupid, but I specifically think of that, and then I think about the Haunting of Hill House, the dark, silent hallway they had there, and
Agreed.
how that was an overall loud house, but you had that one moment of just like very unsettling silence that was then broken by a jump scare from above with a sudden noise, and I think that would definitely be kind of the premise they would follow if they do go with A Quiet Place, whether it's the old or the new movie.
Right, exactly. I agree, and it seems like that's the general consensus here. They want to promote something new, same with Ghostbusters, yeah. I think if they want to go Quiet Place, they could easily do day one and just do that to promote the movie. I don't know. I guess we will see whatever this might be, whether it's Silent Hill or Quiet Place or something completely different that we don't know. Could be Terrifier, which is what I saw in the chat. I know I heard that one because Terrifier doesn't talk, Art the Clown doesn't talk. Maybe. I would be down for a Terrifier house.
Absolutely.
Would they do it? I have no idea. I would like to see if they did, but I don't know. We won't know, you know? Okay, next one is in Sprung Tent. I believe it's Sprung Tent 2. Yeah, Sprung Tent 2 is Unknown Original. Nothing to say here.
So quite frankly, there is nothing to go on, because we don't, at least with Unknown IP, we know that it has to be a movie, or music, or a TV show, or something. Like, you kind of have a little bit to go on, but Unknown Original, literally anything they can think of.
Yeah. I know I said in the video, I was like, Icon House maybe, if there's an icon. But we don't know.
Yeah, I was
It's
saying.
Unknown Original. There's literally nothing to go off of. There's no symbol, there's nothing.
No, I'm just gonna say, in my mind, I think this should just be a Boris house.
But it's a tribute to Terror.
We can have two.
All right, maybe. Who knows?
I'll get the books and the real life.
All right, we're gonna move on to Sprung Tent 1, and that is a Minotaur. So this is obviously Percy Jackson, the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're all thinking. Honestly, this is probably some sort of Greek mythology thing.
Oh, 100%.
Obviously not Percy Jackson, but Disney owns Percy Jackson now. But yeah, so this is some sort of Greek mythology. I know I heard some people say Poseidon's Fury, maybe. I mean, they did Dueling Dragons last year, so I wouldn't be too off the rails to think they would do maybe Poseidon's Fury.
A lot of people kind of talked about that last year too, like how they would love to see that. So maybe.
So maybe
Universal was listening.
Or this is something completely different. I know there's another house in the past. There was like something to Hades. I don't remember what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a sequel to that or something along those lines. Maybe. This is an original. So it could be completely anything based off of Greek mythology or a Minotaur. That's all I got.
Yeah. It's kind of one of the more vague ones. Codename Cobbler.
Yeah. Which, I mean, cobbler, if you think about cobbler, isn't a cobbler a guy that makes shoes?
That's what I was just about to say. I think
Maybe
of the people
it's-
that make shoes.
Maybe it's that.
It's a tap dancing Minotaur.
Yeah, it's a Minotaur that makes shoes. I don't know.
No. But maybe cobble, like cobblestone,
Maybe.
ancient city.
Maybe. Oh, is this one baklava? I don't know. Codename baklava. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Cobbler was the unknown original.
Oh, maybe.
And Baklava is this one.
Cobblestone, so Minecraft the house.
Corn on the cobbler.
Yeah. Oh God, don't wish corn.
No corn.
No, don't wish corn.
We don't need hurricanes.
Okay, so that's my consensus on this one. Do you have anything else you want to add to this?
Quite frankly, no. I mean, Minotaur is Greek mythology. Lots of good stuff to go off of there, but really nothing super specific.
Okay, Adam dropped in the chat what that house was in the past. Hades, Paths to Ruin in 2010. It was awesome. Oh, I thought the house's codename was Baklava, since they're both Greek.
Yeah, that probably makes sense. I think we moved on really quick from talking about unknown originals, so those chats just came in back to back.
We did, because the stream's a little delayed, obviously. So, but yes, some sort of Greek thing.
Yes.
In the video, we're talking about how I hope it has a similar vibe to like Nightingales. I know Nightingales was Roman, and this would be Greek. And then hearing another Nightingales, that's crazy. I'm just talking about that. Yeah, Nightingales and Nightingale's Blood Pit, whatever it was, in HHN 29, fantastic house. One of my favorite houses of that year.
Yeah.
So if it's like that, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Because they can do medieval pretty good. They've done Dueling Dragons now too.
I was gonna say, the way they've kind of leaned into, again, like we were talking about at the very beginning, leaning into lore from other cultures and like just, I don't even know the word for it, lore from other cultures. I'm just trying to reword that again. But seeing them do stuff like that has worked out really well for them, so.
All right. Moving on from this one. We're going to move. Hold on, we got one thing here. I like Baklava is this one because Greek mythology and it's Greek, but Cobbler could be Thanksgiving, the movie, or the Leprechaun horror movie for unknown original. Maybe. You know, I've heard Thanksgiving getting thrown around. I haven't seen Thanksgiving. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I know they were talking about for the unknown IP it possibly being Thanksgiving because the code word is pie.
Right.
But we're past that, and I'm trying to take us back around, and I probably shouldn't be doing that.
But yes,
Forever.
Thanksgiving has been on the rumors and the Leprechaun horror movie. Maybe an unknown IP since those are technically IPs. Maybe. Or Cobbler means holidays or something. Because obviously we've had holidays in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe something along those lines. But we're going to move on from that Sprung Tent to Sprung Tent 4, which is a moon with some stars and an IP reel. So this is the Sleepy Moon Baby Sensory Video Haunted House. Right?
Just...
No?
Yeah.
I thought we were in agreement about that. There's
That's
obviously, you guys know what I'm talking about. When you go on YouTube and you look up baby sensory videos.
I don't think anyone knows what that is except for me.
And you got the little dancing moon. This is the house based on it, man. Crazy. They've come so far.
Dancing moon and stars.
But no, obviously, everyone's saying this is Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
This is Freddy coming back to the event. I know people were talking about this logo was actually inside of 2007's Nightmare on Elm Street house, which I didn't know. So even more to say that this could be Freddy coming back to the event. Does anyone have any other speculations on that? Because I feel like that one's kind of self-explanatory.
Derek said no holiday-related house, please. Keep it in Hollywood.
Yeah, obviously I didn't go to Hollywood, so I don't know if that was a good house or a bad house. I heard it had bad smells, though.
Yeah.
But a lot of houses do.
Yeah, they do. It's about
Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay, yeah. So this is Nightmare on Elm Street, probably. We don't know. Might be, yeah, Sleep Well. See? It's a sleepy name. Not sure. But no, Sleep Well was what is inside of, I believe, the HHN 17 house? No, yeah, 17. 17?
Yeah. It was 2007, it was 17.
Yes. 2007's HHN house. It had that little logo, which I feel like is that.
Yeah. And, I mean, even before, like, all the speculation started, I know that you had mentioned a lot of people, like, out of nowhere, like, bringing up that they thought that he was coming to the event this year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was one that just started to pop up.
Came out of nowhere. Not
Yeah,
even speculation time. They were just like, hey, Nightmare on Elm Street's coming to Horror Nights. And I was like, okay, that's an interesting one. But now, with this, I'm kind of like, maybe it will.
Yep. So that is our thoughts on all these symbols of the houses. Obviously, all these could be wrong. These could be completely different things. It could be Cars the house. It could be Sleepy Moon. It could be Percy Jackson. We don't know.
Yeah, could be.
But we're going to move on from that to, first of all, we're going to look at the green little snake with a skull. That's Death Eaters.
Yeah.
We all know that. It's over there in Diagon Alley. Or is that Diagon Alley?
Mm-hmm.
Nocturne Alley, something. And it's got the little DE right there. If you see that. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a DE right there. Death Eaters, DE. Okay, moving on from that. All right, let's talk about the shows. You'll notice, first of all, there's two shows. One is Fear Factor Stage that we're used to. Next one, you would think would maybe be the Lagoon, because there's the rumors of the Lagoon being brought back up for summer. It's not. This is over in Animal Actors, which hasn't been used for HHN in a long time. But we're going to talk about the one in Fear Factor, because I feel like that one's pretty easy. It's Fire. So, what is it?
Hopefully. I know everybody says that Nightmare Fuel was only ever meant to be one show, and then it turned into 3 shows, and it was only meant to be 3 shows, but now we have a flaming icon. So hopefully that means the return of Halloween Nightmare Fuel.
Yeah.
As we know, that's my entire personality during Horror Night season, is the fact that I'm just a Halloween Nightmare Fuel girl. Absolutely love them. And if they don't come back, I'm going to be very sad. And if the Fear Factor stage does get demolished, I'm going to be very sad. But apparently it's not going to, because how many years have we been saying it's going to get demolished, and it does not, and we get Nightmare Fuel. So
Exactly. This is probably Nightmare Fuel. I'm sure they got another show going on there with Nightmare Fuel.
Everybody loves them too much, and they've done an amazing job the past few years, and they really bring the crowds in, so I can't see them getting rid of a good thing.
But seeing 2 shows on the map makes me happy, just for the simple fact of crowd controls might be a little better if we have 2 shows, because that kind of splits the crowd a little bit, thins it. But the second show is a little castle symbol, and it's got the IP reel. So this could mean this is an IP show. Now, obviously, there's a few rumors here of what that could be, just based off of if there was a castle in a certain show in the past. But obviously this is Harold and Kumar, right? A lot of people are talking about Harold and Kumar, so I need to talk about it. Harold and Kumar, The White Castle, something. I've never watched those movies. Apparently they're a comedy duo. The only comedy duo I need at Horror Nights is Bill and Ted, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But maybe it is Harold and Kumar. Who knows? But let's talk about the other ones. First one I want to talk about is one I saw. Not a lot of people are talking about it, but some people are, and that's Rocky Horror. The Rocky Horror Picture Show that used to be at the event. I mean, it's based inside of like a castle house thing. So maybe that's coming back. And then obviously the one that's more talked about is the Beetlejuice Graveyard Review.
And that is the only correct answer.
So I like how Universal is giving me an ad on my video over there. Anyway. So yeah, a lot of people are talking about Beetlejuice Graveyard Review. Maybe it is that. So, yeah, I don't really know how to say about it. Beetlejuice 2 is coming out this year. Maybe that's a reason.
Yeah. Because I know there was also rumor of a Beetlejuice house this year, so maybe that's something that's been lost in translation, is maybe not necessarily a Beetlejuice house, but a Beetlejuice show. We could hope for, because, again, if this is a Beetlejuice show. I won't shut up about it because Beetlejuice is like my other personality. So I'm literally wearing a Beetlejuice shirt right now.
True. Yeah, so this is what everyone's thinking. Apparently there was like a castle stanchion backdrop during that show. And it utilizes Universal Monsters as well as Beetlejuice, which is plenty of IP to cause an IP reel to be on this symbol.
And it is worth mentioning too that is on both coasts' maps.
That is true. There is some of these. Now, obviously, we specifically talk about Orlando because that's where we are. The Horror Nights we go to. But a lot of these symbols for houses and some shows, or one show, I think, carry over to Hollywood. And usually, if something carries over to Hollywood, it's a big one. Right?
Yeah.
Like
agreed.
Chucky, for example.
Yeah, like usually their big IPs are the things that kind of
Stranger Things.
coexist on each coast. They may have different versions of the show, but I do expect it to be something pretty big and pretty special to Universal if they're doing it in both places.
So yeah, it seems like everyone's general consensus is Beetlejuice. So yeah, that's probably along the lines of what it might be, but we don't know.
I really hope so.
First version of the spec map, this show could disappear. We could just be left with one.
That's very true.
Because I remember last year, didn't we have some sort of like
Yeah, they speculated a show
in front of Mel's, yeah, and that obviously did not happen. So could change, but if that does come back, that'd be cool to see. But yeah, anything else you want to say about that?
No, I mean, it's pretty much all I gotta say is hopefully we're getting Nightmare Fuel and Beetlejuice and Boris, and then I'll be one happy camper.
And obviously, I can't talk anything about the scare zones because the scare zones are all unknown right now. Maybe in like a next spec map or something, we'll get some sort of symbols or something to represent those. The only thing that I want to talk about that's a little different, I talked about this in the video too, is logistics stuff. As you can see, there's 4 sprung tents now on the spec map. Usually we have the 2 parade buildings. There was rumors earlier this year that there's new parade buildings being built. There's permits filed for them. And not parade buildings, new tents. Did I say parade buildings?
Mm-hmm.
New sprung tents being built, my bad. And that the parade buildings are not going to be used for HHN this year, or maybe future years, who knows. But as you can see on the spec map, those aren't on there. So it seems like Horror Night Nightmares is also thinking that parade buildings are not being used. So I don't have any problem with that, me personally. I like sprung tent houses. Wicked Grove came from a sprung tent. Puppet Theater did.
Yeah.
Slaughter Cinema. Scary, yeah. We had some good houses. Bugs. So I'm not against.
No. I mean, it's a little unfortunate losing the parade buildings because you were able to do like the really big facades in there.
True.
But I really think that'll probably be the only thing we miss because truly, like, between sound stages and tents, like, there is a difference, but once you're in the house, if you're immersed enough and they do a good job building it and designing it, you don't really notice too big of a difference.
Right. But yeah, that is the spec map that is currently up. Oh, my computer's having an aneurysm. Okay, my computer's good.
Computer had a hard time there for a
Had
second.
a hard time there. So yeah, that is the spec map that was just released. We made a video about it as well. Feel free to check that out as well. Now, I want to talk about something else. It may not interest you. Maybe it does. We are dropping our first ever merch collection on the channel. Next month. I can't speak.
Next month.
So I wanted to show you guys an in-depth look at kind of that. So bear with me if you want to stay as well. You can. If not, if this doesn't interest you, you're fine. But I want to talk about it, so I'm going to talk about it. So there's a little promo dropped on the there's a little promo dropped on the last video at the end of it, showcasing a little bit. But I want to showcase the actual website. So we're gonna move over there real quick. Give me 2 seconds. I gotta find it. Boom. Okay. Hello. We're up here now. So, all right. So here's the website. I won't drop the link for the website yet, just simply because it's not live yet. This is still in early stages, and it'll come out next month. But Horror Fiends are dropping merch. Yay!
Woo!
Look how great we look. Oh my God. There's little Salem. I want to take a look at these shirts because I know in the promo you don't really get a close enough look at them. So the collection we're dropping is specifically called the Fiend Fiction Collection. That is specifically like comic book art style horror. Yeah. That's the best way I can describe it.
Vaguely Horror Nights.
Yes, you'll,
associated.
because you know you guys are HHN fans, you're gonna see some Horror Nights reflected in some of these merch shirts, whatever designs. Thank you. But without further ado, we're gonna get into it. It's called Fiend Fiction, a little play on the word fan fiction. So we're gonna get into it. There's plenty of products in this collection. As you see, there is a whole bunch, and we're gonna go through it real quick. So we'll start just from the very beginning. So this is called Fiends in the Fog. This specific design. We're gonna get up close and personal here. All right, so Fiends in the Fog is just a black T-shirt with me and Amber on the front, and little Salem. Look at him, he's so cute. And a little arch that we don't know what the arch is for. It's apparently the horror fiends. But yeah, so that's that. And on the back, you're gonna have the abbreviation for the channel. Very simple design for that one. Very simple. We're gonna go back here. Then we're gonna go to one that I'm sure all of you found the channel through. You guys watched the deep dive, I'm sure. Because I know last year a lot of you guys were from the deep dive.
Yeah,
as well.
definitely.
If you don't know, there is a deep dive on the channel going through every single year of Halloween Horror Nights up until I think it was 31 because that was before 32 last year. So this is a t-shirt commemorating that because that is the biggest video on the channel. It's what really got us known to you guys. So deep dive. Deep dive is gonna have the horror fiends on the little pocket here with a like tidal wave mixed with like blood coming across. So we're taking deep dive and going literal. So like a deep dive into the ocean, which is terrifying. But we're gonna have this little girl here, and we don't know her name, some lady, being attacked by this masked stranger slasher dude. And it's gonna say the deep dive on the back. Obviously this is completely commemorating the deep dive video that did amazing for the channel. And obviously all the creators that helped us in that video last year was amazing. So that is that design. Now, a lot of these designs are going to have a hoodie variation. For example, Deep Dive 1 does have a hoodie variation. Similar as well with Deep Dive on the sleeves and the same design on the back. Now we're going to get into the fun ones. I like these ones.
Yes, this is like one of my
So
favorites.
this is the little Salem portion. If you don't know, we have a cat named Salem. If this is like your first stream, first time viewing into us, we have a little cat named Salem, little black cat. And I wanted to make merch just based off of him experiencing some specific things to HHN. So first one is called the iconic Salem tee. Now on the front here, you're going to have the horror fiends with Salem's paw going up front with a bunch of like golden little rune type bands around his little wrist. And then on the back, just get a closer look here. Actually, let me get this one. Closer look here, it's going to have Salem on a throne that says It Spells Icons. Now, if you've been around the HHN space for a little bit, you're going to notice that It Spells Icons was something we said a lot during a certain house, during a certain year of the event. And this little flaming lantern is also very symbolic of what that house was as well.
Definitely.
But in this case, Salem is on the throne. I think this is a cool design.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorites.
So that is that one. Again, there's also a hoodie variation of this one as well with Fear the Feline on the sides and It Spells Icons on the other side. Then we're going to get into the No Chance tee. When you think of No Chance and you're a Horror Nights fan, what do you think of? A certain clown, maybe? Not the main one you're thinking of. Not the dude. We're going to think about the one that's really good at throwing knives. Okay? But we're incorporating Salem into this. So on the front, it's the Horror Fiends, just like the other shirts, with Salem's paw coming across. That's got a little like blue and red, little clowny design, little art style to it. And then on the back is the real fun part. It's going to be Salem on this little bullseye. And he's saying, "Oh, brother," because knives are being thrown at him, or on the bullseye. There's a little makeup here, so it signifies maybe it's a girl doing this. Who knows? And then little here, you might see a little nod to a certain person in Horror Nights. No chance in hell. Whose icon? Whose slogan is that? Come on. But yes, so this is Salem experiencing the wrath of that icon. So that is that design. I love that design. It's cool to me. Then we're going to get into the hoodie variation as well. That says No Chance in Hell on the sleeve. And, Come One, Come All on the side because it is a circus. Okay, we're going to move along here to this one here called the Prank Call tee. Now this one here, I just like personally the certain design of like visual novels, specifically horror visual novels. So I wanted to play on that with this merch collection. So Prank Call Tee is essentially kind of like a Scream style kind of tee, like Scream the movie, where you have a killer, a mass killer, an unknown killer calling you, and they're being watched. So just a simple design on the front, just the comic book variation of the Horror Fiends logo, and on the back a comic book style little thing of a skirt girl being stalked by this killer that's calling her on her phone. Very simple design, but very cool nonetheless to me.
Yeah.
So yes, that is the Prank Call Tee. You can see the prices on these tees as well right now. So once it drops, you kind of got a little bit of a mindset. I try to make them a little cheaper than a lot of other merch that I've seen in the past, just because I'm not a big fan of paying a lot of money for a t-shirt just to show that you're a fan or you like a certain channel or media outlet or movie. That's how I see things.
Yeah.
So then we have a hoodie variation of the prank call as well that has disconnected on the sleeve and leave a voicemail on the other sleeve. Obviously these are all black, so I modeled this a lot after my own wardrobe because that's the only color I wear usually. Okay, then we're going to get into another Salem merch design. This is called Speculation Salem Tee. So if you've been through a speculation season of a certain Halloween event, there's a lot of static videos that get sent to us, a lot of symbols that we have to decode, essentially like this little spec map we just did. So in this little design, it is Salem filling our shoes in that sense.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I've watched enough static on a screen to make a merch design of it. So This is what it is. So first you're going to have the Horror Fiends logo with Salem's paw going across. You can't really see in this picture, but on his paw it's got little spirals, like little, almost like trippy little spirals.
Yeah.
Jigsaw almost.
Staticky moment.
Right. And on the back is him watching a static video with a bunch of runes and trying to decode it.
And faces hidden in the static.
Yeah, and there's a little icon in the static. Who is that? That's that t-shirt. But yeah, that's what that one is. I just wanted to commemorate speculation season and that kind of stuff into a t-shirt, so that's essentially what that one is. There is a hoodie variation of this one as well. Very simple words on the side. Just says clues and static. Very simple, but effective. Then we're going to get into maybe one you might want to wear this summer. If you're a horror fan, if you go to horror conventions during the summer, or if you just want to show off that you like horror in the summer. This is called the Slasher Summer Tee. So Slasher Summer is essentially like Friday the 13th or Sleepaway Camp, these horror movies that are based in like camps, beaches, that kind of stuff. Basically Halloween in the summer. So that's what this is. Just a like comic book revisualization of that genre of horror. So Slasher Summer Tee, you're going to have the Horror Fiends logo on the side here with like a melting lollipop that's got like a little jack-o'-lantern face on it.
Popsicle.
Did I say Pop-Tart? What did I say?
Lollipop.
Lollipop.
Pop-Tart.
It's a Pop-Tart. No, and then on the back, we're going to have basically my homage to that as well. So we're going to have this woman sipping her little umbrella drink on the beach while the slasher is behind her and she doesn't know it. And then you have a little watermelon that's carved like a jack-o'-lantern. Simple, cool. That's basically essentially how all the designs are. Yeah. Very simple, but very telling at the same time. Again, there is a hoodie variation of this one as well, with the same logo there, but on this one it says Scream in the Sun, with sun in a yellow kind of style, and then Slasher Summer on the other side. Then we're going to get into another Salem tee.
We really love him.
Now, I know one of you said you're a certain fan of a show at a certain Halloween event.
Yeah, we do love our certain show at this certain event.
So this is the Fire Twirler design. On the front, you're going to have Salem's Paw with some fire going around it and like this blue little comic book speckled background. And on the back side, you're going to have Salem performing the show. With the little fire twirling and the crazy outfit and the stage that's like all metal and all this other stuff. That's essentially what this design is. This is one of my favorite designs.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
Next one, you're going to have, a hoodie variation of that with fire on one sleeve and then maybe a line from a certain show that says "Let the Chaos Reign" on the other sleeve. Then we're going to get into another kind of homage to horror, but more of like a art style specifically I like in horror, which is like with neon lights, 80s, that kind of stuff. So this is called the Neon Nightmare. On the front, you're going to have the Horror Fiends with like this neon style knife. Similar, it looks like almost like a Scream knife or something like that. So that's what that is. On the back, you're going to have this woman in her car in like this little empty alleyway that's lit by a neon sign and then being stalked by this slasher. So that is what that design is. And then on this one, you have a hoodie variation. There is no sleeve designs on this one. I just wanted to keep it very simple on that hoodie variation. Then we're going to get into one that's very specific to the channel. One that's we say all the time. Mm-hmm. This is called the Destination tee. As you know, when we open up the videos and now the live streams, we say this is your number one destination for horror. This is what this shirt is. Very simple comic book art style of our logo on the front. And on the back, you have a Reaper holding this little camera that says number one destination for horror. Very simple. He's on this little lake with this little scenery. But yeah.
She's having a good time.
Moving right along, there's a hoodie variation of that. Very simple. Number one destination for horror on the two sleeves. Moving right along, we're going to go to our homage to even more of certain type of monsters that we've seen maybe at a certain Halloween event or in certain media produced by a certain studio. This is called the Creature Coaster tee. So this has the Horror Fiends logo on the front with a fish gill man monster reaching for the logo on the front. On the back, we have the monster riding his first roller coaster. Doesn't he look so scared? Yes.
Looks like he's having the time of his life.
So that is the Creature Coaster tee. There is a variation of that for the hoodie as well. With, once it loads here. There we go. I think what I put on this. Oh, Scary Fun Water Park on the side, and then Creature Coaster on the other side. Then we're going to get to Mum in a Box. What is Mum in a Box? I'm going to tell you what Mum in a Box is. Mum in a Box?
Mum in a Box.
Mum in a Box. So it has the Horror Fiends logo on the front with a mummy hand holding it. On the back side, we're going to have a clown looking at a jack-in-the-box. Interesting. It's almost like there's someone at a certain Halloween event that comes out of a box. Anyways, and he's going to say, clowns? That's what that one is.
Clowns?
Clowns? He seems very scared of clowns. Maybe he's scared of them. Going right along, there's a hoodie variation of this one as well that says Mum in a Box. And on the side, it says, call your mummy. So that's two sleeve designs for that one. Where was I?
Down there, Vamp Taker.
Now we're going to go to the Vamp Taker. So this one's going to pay homage to a certain Halloween event as well. On the front, you're going to have the Horror Fiends logo being held by a vampire. On the back, you're going to be introduced to a certain figure that looks very familiar. That's saying a certain line, your time has come to this vampire. The vampire looks very scared. So this is the Vamp Taker here, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Moving right along, we're just going to keep blowing through this real quick.
Yes.
Vamp Taker hoodie also has the hoodie variation that says a Monster Madness on the sleeve, and then your time has come on the other sleeve. Then you're going to get to Fog Sniffer.
I think this one's one of your favorites.
This is one of my favorites because what do we do when we go to a certain Halloween event? We smell this Halloween fog that gets blown. We all talk about that we love the smell of it.
That first smell of the fog.
That first smell. We say, we'll see you in the fog. We'll see all this stuff. So that's what this is. Very simple comic book design of the logo on the front. On the back, we have two guys at a certain Halloween event sniffing the fog. Sniff, sniff. You know that stuff will kill you. That's that design. Am I describing this well?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Moving right along here, we're going to go to, there's a Fog Sniffer hoodie that says, once it loads here, see you in the fog and smell the fog on the two sides. Then we're going to go into the Horror Fiends tee, which is probably my favorite design, I feel like, because it's us. This is the just like straight up Horror Fiends. So on the front, you're going to have the classic logo that we use all the time, the Horror Fiends logo. And on the back, you are going to have me, Amber, and Salem in a little comic book style fighting some demons. So yeah, you're going to have the little handlebar mustache. You got Amber's little hair and the little Salem. And yeah, so that's what's going to be on this. Again, on all these back designs, you're going to see THF. That is just abbreviation for the Horror Fiends in various styles.
Hi, Christina.
Oh, hey, Christina. Thank you. Yes, the Fox Sniffer. I love
The
that
Fox
design.
Sniffer one is pretty good.
I went to my first HHN last year. I'm pretty young and don't know if I should go to this one. What do you think? I think go to as many HSNs as you can. Obviously, do what's best in your budget, but go. It's an experience you don't want to miss. Even if a year isn't as strong as another year, go to the event. It's amazing. So that is the Horror Fiends tee. There's also a hoodie variation of this one as well. That is going to say, "We will see you in the morgue," which we say every time we close out a video. And then I forgot what this says. It says number one destination for. That's what it says. I've made so many of these designs, I don't remember.
Say it's like never ending here.
Okay, next tee we're going to move along to is called the Blink Blink tee.
This is one of my favorites, I think. I love this one.
Very simple design, a comic book design of the Horror Fiends logo, and then a design of a cup that is blinking. That's saying blink blink. There's little ice cubes that have eyeballs in them, and the cup is falling on the floor, and it's shooting out sparks and all this fun stuff. You know what this is symbolizing, right? This is our own little variation on it. Again, there is a hoodie variation of this one as well, with Blink Blink on the side and Drink Up on the other side. Then we're going to get into the Fiend Wolf tee, which simple design on the front of that one, the Horror Fiends, and on the back we got a werewolf complaining about us. Not the Horror Fiends again, which is, I'm assuming, what you all say when you see your live streams pop up.
Obviously.
So yeah, that is what that one is, and there's a little zombie dude in the back. There's a hoodie variation of this one as well, with Werewolf Crossing on the side, and No Werewolves Allowed on the other side. Then we're getting to the Pizza Eyes.
Okay, I take it back. This one's one of my favorites.
Pizza Eyes. What are we talking about? I don't know. Who knows?
A very delicious snack.
A very delicious snack. Horror Fiends logo on the front. Very, very simplistic. On the back, you're going to have a design of this werewolf eating these fries that are covered in a certain sauce. You know, maybe pizza sauce. With eyeballs inside of them.
Pizza.
He happens to be at a theme park. I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe it's something we all enjoy when we go to a certain event.
Maybe. I don't know. Alright, moving right along, there is a hoodie variation of this one as well. That says Pizza Eyes on the side, and then says Best Meal Around. Then we're going to get to...
Oh my god! Again,
now, for all the people who were talking about a certain thing earlier, if you were in here...
A certain homie from a certain place who has a certain window with a certain statue inside.
Alright, so we're going to go down to it and make sure this is in the frame here. Okay. So the Legendary Trout is what this one is called. It's got the Horror Fiends logo on the front. On the back, you got a certain dude that looks like he's maybe some sort of private investigator or something along those lines, investigating something.
Yeah, but his name is just Barracuda Fisher.
His name is Barracuda Fisher. Not anything else, Barracuda Fisher. And he's investigating his little briefcase that's filled with this like monster, some sort of fish monster thing. That's what's happening. And he's a fish as well. So, you know. Now there is a hoodie variation of this one as well. And that is this one here. On the side is going to have a green text that says the Legendary Trout. And on the other side, it says Barracuda Fisher PI. So, yeah. Alright, so that is it for like the hoodies and the t-shirts. Now we're going to move on to something I felt like needed to be part of the collection because at HHN, usually it rains. All the time.
Yeah, I was going to say, not even usually. It never fails to flood.
So I felt like having this in part of the merch collection was essential. So this is called the Horror Fiends Windbreaker. It's very simple, just the classic Horror Fiends logo on it. It is a champion. If you're a fan of brands, it is a champion windbreaker. So that is what that is. Very simple. There's nothing on the back or anything. But it's just, if you go to HHN and you need a windbreaker, something along those lines, there it is. Going right along here. Let me not click out of the tab. Whoops. Okay. Now we're going to get to the two trucker hats we have here with the two various logos. So we're going to start with the Fiend Fiction trucker hat. This has the comic book design logo for us on there. Just a simple trucker hat. That's all it's got on there. I made this specifically because I own this one here that says the Horror Fiends. And I got questions about the merch for maybe a hat or something. So that's why I made these two ones. So you have the Fiend Fiction version, and then you have the classic, the Horror Fiends trucker hat. Which, again, is just our classic logo in all of its amazingness. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, Christina's been a member for 7 months.
Oh, Christina. Dang, you've been a haunted homie for that long?
Oh my goodness.
That's crazy.
And then she said, I'll
Thank
take one
you.
of everything, which honestly, me too.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you being a member for that long. Has it really been that long? That's crazy.
I
You must be
know.
a very evolved pumpkin as your icon. Because I remember when I made those little icons for the members, I like gradually made you like a godly pumpkin. So you must be very far into that now. Appreciate it. Thank you for being a member for 7 months. Going straight into another one that is probably essential for if you go to theme parks or you go to work out, anything like that. We have a water bottle. The Fiend Fiction water bottle. This has the logo for the comic book, the Fiend Fiction stuff. This actually lets you get a good close-up on it, and you can see there's little dots all over the stuff to make it really look like a comic book. Yeah, it's just a water bottle. But if you want it, it's there. It's a nice little metal water bottle. It's like insulated, I think. I think. But that's what that is. Then moving right along, we're going to go to another one that's essential for theme park goers, and that is the Monster Hand Fanny Pack. So fanny packs are essential for HHN, for Disney, wherever you go, SeaWorld. This one has the Horror Fiends logos all over it with various monster hands holding it. So we have Dracula or a vampire on the front. We have a mummy on there. We have, I believe, this mummy here. It's a whole bunch of different monster hands holding this. And it comes in two various sizes, small as medium, medium large, so you can adjust it as well. So that's always fun. And then we'll get into the last little thing here, part of this collection that we're going to be dropping. And that is almost the same thing as the fanny pack, but as a bomber jacket. So this is the Monster Hand bomber jacket. So same design that was on the fanny pack. It's like a white design with a bunch of monster hands all over it. We got mummy, a gill man, this vampire. Here's a people we don't know wearing it. But that is what is going to be a part of that one. So that is the entire collection that we're going to be dropping in April. We'll let you know more details soon, but I definitely want to take you guys on a little journey here so you can see more in depth of what is coming to the future for us. I want to do little things bigger than last year. Last year was kind of our introduction into YouTube. Let me actually go to my camera for this here. All right, last year was our little introduction to YouTube, really cementing ourselves inside of the community. We did the deep dive. We covered last year's speculation, all that stuff. This year, I want to take it a little step farther and do something for you guys because you supported us this long. We're at like 1.5K subscribers. You guys are continually watching the videos. The last video we just did on that spec map we were talking about did amazing. I didn't expect that kind of response at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely want to give back and try to do it in a budget-friendly way. Don't make $80 hoodies, $70 t-shirts like some, brands do or anything like that. I actually want to keep it real simple. So these will be available for you guys next month. And I will definitely let you guys know when that drops in great detail. It's going to be all over the place, all over the channel, our socials, things like that, if you follow us on socials as well. But yeah, so that was our way of giving back to you guys, dropping this merch and, doing something different than we did last year. Really, I don't know the right words for it, but like, you know what I mean. But yeah, that is, I believe, everything I wanted to talk about in the stream today. We did roughly almost 2 hours, so thank you guys for whoever sticked around. Let's check out the spec map, let's check out the merch. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for talking about the merch in the chat. It's cool that you guys are liking the designs. This is my first time doing anything like this, so but yes, thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah, is there anything else you want to say?
No, I'm very excited. Just like to see that everybody's liking the merch, and I'm excited that it's speculation season, and
Yes.
I'm ready to get back to this next Sunday.
Yes, next Sunday we'll be live, same time, 8:30. We will catch you guys there. But besides that, thank you for sticking around with us today. Thank you for the member for 7 months. Thank you, Christina. Thank you for everyone else who has dropped in the chat today to give us some love, some talking, give your speculations. But besides that, we will see you in the morgue. Well, I did that backwards. Retry that.
Do it again.
Besides that, we will see you in the fog, and we will see you in the morgue. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you later.